It's another average school day. I'm dozing through English class, and I can't help but think as I sit there about the next gaming session I'm going to have when I get home today. Now, I promised myself yesterday that I would never play another video game, starting today, because I had stayed up way past my bedtime grinding a certain game. But I quickly realized that I actually can't do that. I don't have enough willpower to do that because gaming is the only thing I have to look forward to in my life that gives me purpose and gives me hope and gives me something to engage myself with. Just then, an announcement comes on that basically changes my life forever. It calls all students interested in signing up for the outdoor track season to sign up in the lobby. Now, little did I know it at the point, but that single announcement would probably help annihilate my gaming addiction forever. So, if you don't know who I am, I've basically managed to quit video games as a lonely middle class white guy, basically forever, with absolutely no help. So, in this video, I'm going to show you the strategy that I use that you can implement today that will make your quitting video game journey 10 times more painless. So, I tried for months back in the day to quit video games through willpower alone, but it never worked because basically I have this process where I get home from school, play video games for like 5, 6, 7 hours, all the way up to like 11 p.m., way past my normal bedtime. I would get way less sleep than any growing boy should need. And basically, what happened was I get up the next day and I tell myself that enough was enough. I was tired of being tired, and I would basically just quit cold turkey coming tomorrow. And yeah, so that day, I would follow my regular routine. I would go to school, I would sit through my classes, and then typically through the afternoon classes at school, I would encounter this phenomenon where basically I would just only think about video games. I would kind of have like this kind of like crackhead, like neck scratching craving for video games because like I wanted to get my fix. I wanted to get that dopamine high that I knew that I was accomplishing something and doing something meaningful that I was contributing to. So basically like on the way back on the bus, even though I knew like on paper that yeah, I should be quitting, I should be putting this addiction behind me, I would start planning my next gaming session. I would start planning what I would do in this and that video game when I got home. And believe it or not, that's exactly what I would do when I got off the bus and I got inside. I would put my stuff down, just go to my room, not even like change out of my school uniform, and just like, yeah, just start crashing out on the video games. And that process went on where, like after I got on the gaming, I would play until, yeah, but like 11 p.m. at night, way past my bedtime. My parents would have to like knock on my door and tell me to go to sleep and basically get off the video games and basically try and act like an adult for once, which I wasn't capable of doing. But yeah, that was a really tough period in my life because maybe you experienced this as well. I just couldn't keep a promise to myself. I set my expectations for myself way too high, where I expected myself to go cold turkey from video games without changing anything else about my life, without changing anything else about myself. And because I couldn't keep that promise to myself, I basically spiraled into not a deep, but kind of like a shallow kind of depression where I couldn't believe anything I told myself because I knew that I couldn't keep a promise to myself. So I couldn't listen to myself in any substantial way. I couldn't trust myself on any promise that I would make for myself because I knew that I couldn't follow through because I'd see myself go through like weeks and months of just, okay, I'm going to quit today, and I don't. I'm going to quit today, and I go back to it. So this changed because I needed basically an identity shift. I need something, some force outside of me to tell me that, hey, you're not just a gaming addict trying to seek rehab for his little addiction. You're not some little crackhead who's sleeping in the gutter trying desperately to like call out for help to beat his addiction. And that came in the form of the 2023 outdoor track season at my high school, funnily enough. It wasn't the only thing that helped me quit, but it definitely offered me certain alleyways, I guess, that would help me quit in the long run. So before we get on to that, I just like to talk very quickly about if you want extra help from me about quitting video games, then you can check out my course. The link to it is in the description. It's about 2 hours of content expertly curated by me on tactics of how to quit video games for good. And I guarantee that if you follow it for 2 weeks and you implement everything in it, then you can yeah, definitely quit video games in about 2 weeks for good. So go ahead and check that out if you're interested in getting extra help for conquering your gaming addiction. But back to the video, basically what that track season did for me is, I'll get to that, but it was the fact that it helped me basically become my own person. So the way that outdoor track season went was, I signed up for it. I go to the tryout, right? People are like throwing javelins, like the older grades, right? Because I was in the 9th grade, so everyone else was above me. They all showed me how to throw a discus, how to throw a javelin, the different running events we ran through, all that stuff, all that kind of stuff. And I kind of saw potential in myself with them, especially like the javelin event. So I signed up for that, as well as like another like short distance running event, probably like 100 meter, 200 meter, 400 meters, something like that. And yeah, I basically just started showing up to practices. I got to know the coaches. I got to know the different players. I made some friendships there. And then when the events actually came along, that's where I started to realize what kind of potential I had outside of just being a gamer, because I started to become more social. I started to hang around people that I before thought were just like weird and that I shouldn't talk to. That's kind of a side point, but it basically helped me both get a social life in a sense, and it also helped me make new connections so that I could reform my identity from being just a gamer to kind of being like an athlete who worked on stuff and could get stuff done and could be social and could kind of like hang out in the sun with like his little friends from high school and do all this stuff as well. So that was very, very empowering for me. And the reason it was empowering, the core reason, was because I reformed my identity. I became someone other than a gamer. I became an athlete. I started running, throwing, and doing stuff like that. And another transformative part about this process was that our throwing coach brought us to the weight room in our gym. And I never really lifted weights before. They're like a bunch of like grade 12ers hanging out in there, like listening to Taylor Swift or whatever, just like a bunch of 12th grade guys, and I found them kind of intimidating. But when I started using the machines, one of them showed me how to use it and how to do this upright row movement, how to do whatever, and then we kind of got like a dumbbell workout circuit to work through to kind of like build strength for throwing. And I found that lifting weights really called me because it helped me develop a sort of self-confidence. It helped me push myself and get the rewards for it, which is gaining muscle, gaining strength, stuff like that. And that kind of introduced me to the world of weightlifting, which I still follow today, and I still work out about 6 times a week, even today. And the amount of confidence and the amount of good that that's done for me, where I can reform my identity now as a weightlifter, as an athlete, as someone who kind of devotes a lot of his existence to eating right and training right and perfect form, criticizing his technique, trying to get 1% better every single day. This process of mastering the world of hypertrophy and weightlifting is really empowering for someone who's only seen video games their entire life. So that's one thing I recommend you do if you're still stuck in the rut of a gaming addiction and you don't know how to get out, is to basically replace it with weightlifting, especially if you're a guy. If you can progress that skill of weightlifting and devote the kind of attention and focus and like critical constructive thinking that you put towards, League of Legends or whatever your game of choice is, if you take the kind of effort that you put towards that and you devote it to either optimizing for running and throwing strength and muscular endurance and like strengthening your legs for running like I did, or you just optimize for your own personal hobby of lifting weights, building strength, getting stronger, building size like I do now, if you have some kind of outlet that you are interested in and that you find personally meaningful for yourself that isn't video games, then that is very, 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 very powerful. So the fact that I don't feel called back to video games at this point is basically what keeps me from gaming, if you haven't realized that yet. And it's very empowering because I've replaced gaming. If there's one thing that you get from this video, one piece of advice, is that you have to replace gaming with something else in your life. And I'm already doing fulfilling stuff in my life. So gaming feels wrong now if I go back to it, right? Because I'm already doing fulfilling stuff in my life. I'm already working on this business. I'm lifting weights. I'm talking to people. I'm trying to network. I'm basically making a name for myself, so I don't have that inherent insecurity that kind of rested inside me and constantly like ate away at my soul when I was trying to quit video games. It was this voice that was constantly telling me that I wasn't living up to my potential as a gamer, and that I would never make it in life, and that I would never become someone. I would never have money. I'd never have freedom. I would never have a good social network. I would never have good mobility because I just put all my time and my effort towards video games, which felt good in the moment, but they screwed me over long term, right? That's the definition of instant gratification. You have to know what instant gratification is if you want to quit video games, because video games at their core are instant gratification. They are this pleasurable thing that you do in the moment that you regret later because you wasted your time and your effort and basically your livelihood on it. So that's very important of a mindset to have moving forward. Now, I've tried going back to gaming in the last couple of months, kind of to understand my niche more. I've tried talking to people who are not necessarily addicted to video games, but heavily invested in them. I've tried researching neurology textbooks on like gaming addiction and stuff like that. And basically, what I found from going back to gaming to find out what it's like is that basically I feel bad now when I go back to video games. I feel guilty, and I feel like I don't belong there. Whereas back when I was playing Minecraft in 2022, I felt like that was the place for me. I felt like that was my vocation, it was my calling in life, because I didn't know myself well enough. And video games for me right now, trying to play them, is just kind of depressing for like the first hour, half an hour or so. And then after that, when I actually like lock in and start to understand what the game's all about, then it becomes scarily addictive. And I'm thankful to say that I haven't become addicted to video games again, obviously, but I've started to gain more respect and understanding for them as an art form, of how much they can suck you in and basically just be a vortex for your productivity and your livelihood. So the thing that I've learned from trying to go back to gaming, which I'm also going to try in the future to understand this niche more, is that once you really know yourself and once you realize your potential as a human being and what you're capable of doing, that you can actually go out and get stuff that you want, then gaming is inherently just like less appealing to you once you realize the power and the influence that you have as a human being. Because how many among us are just traumatized boys whose parents didn't love them enough, or whose teachers abused them, or whose teachers shouted at them in school and told them that they have no potential and that they never get anything done in life. And that's why they play video games, because it's the only place where they know that they have control over their environment. It's the only place where they can vent their masculine urge to conquer and to show competence. It's the only place where they can do that in peace. It's like the last frontier for modern man that the left, that like the woke side, hasn't taken away from him. This feminine force, this demonic feminine force that wants him to revoke everything and basically become like a soy boy. Forgive me for getting political if you don't agree with me, but the point is, if you are playing video games and it is your only outlet for your inherent masculine urge, if you're a guy, to control stuff, to kind of take responsibility for stuff and to get work done, then you're not living to your full potential and you have to get out of it. And again, my course can help with that, this content can help with that, but it's something that must be overcome. And if I could go back in time and tell myself that and argue with myself about it, even like slap myself across the face and tell myself that one fact and get that to him, then I could probably save like months, years of my life that I spent in just this hole of gaming addiction. So yeah, that's basically the message of this video. And I think I'm going to draw the line there. I think I'm going to end the video there, because that's basically my very brief thoughts put into one video. And I hope that you found this helpful. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments. If you have any topics you'd like me to cover, then go ahead and put them in the comments as well. But yeah, that's pretty much going to do it for this video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this content. I'll see ya.